Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing this evening? It is so cold. Oh my God, it says it's 45. It feels like it's like 20 degrees outside. It is chilly, chilly, chilly winter evening in Indianapolis, and I am leaving my house and I am going to go pick up Tanya Jean Applestein for a fountain pop or a water. But I might get a fountain pop tonight. Anyway, it's been a great day. It has been a really good day today. My phone always, like, as I'm leaving, like, tells me, like, how many minutes until the next place I'm going. Like, it's so fun. It's always, like, the same 3 places. It's cold. Alex is watching, he's like, I don't even know, like on the 4th season of Schitt's Creek right now. And so I was getting some stuff done around the house, and I have about 1 million things I have to do tomorrow. And so he was getting ready to go to bed after this last episode. So I made the bed real nice for him and the pups and laid out their comfort blankets for them from Jennifer. Okay. Regarding the vlog from last night, that was like 1 hour and 35 minutes, but ended up being an hour. What happened was I went in and I was talking about, like giving a lead and telling your story. And I went in and I was like, talking about my story. Well, while I was doing that, I referenced like one of my favorite leads, okay? And a lead is like, when somebody is, like they go in and they, what do you call it? Well, I talked about this last night, but a lead is when in recovery you go to a meeting and you tell your story and you basically talk about what it was like, what happened, and what it's like now, okay? So last night when I started talking about it, I referencing one of my favorite leads I'd ever heard. Well, when I did that, I mentioned this very popular lead, okay, that you can find online, it's on YouTube and whatever. And I was like, yada, yada, yada. And then what would happen is I'd be talking about my lead, and then I would say, and so-and-so's lead, and then I would tell my lead, and then I would say, and so-and-so's lead, and I just didn't feel right about it. And so, you know, I decided to cut that entire part out. So me going in there and talking about my story last night and what I've shared in my story in the past and whatever is like woven with me talking about this. And so I just completely took that part out of it. So that's why it jumped from one part to the next. And I took like 35 minutes out of it because I just didn't feel right, including their name in there. And it's just their first name, and you can find it on YouTube if you go, and it's a very popular lead, but I don't know, I just didn't feel right about doing that. You know, I can only share my experience, strength, and hope. So that's why I cut that part out. I'm sure that makes sense now in retrospect, but I was kind of like, oh my God, there's a whole, when I went back in to edit it, I only thought it was going to be like 10 minutes that I was going to be editing out, but it ended up being like the very last part of the vlog, so. That's that. And, yeah, so, but I'm giving a lead this weekend. I'm telling my story. And I was talking to my sponsor about it on the phone today because, like, when you do it, you know, like, some leads... Okay, I gotta be careful again. Some leads... This is exactly what I did last night. Some leads, you know, people tell, like, I've given leads... Okay, I'll tell it all from my point of view. Some leads that you hear, some leads that I've given, I've gone in and I have, like, just talked about what it was like, childhood to using to getting sober, and then what happened after I got sober, like how I worked the steps, and now what like my life is like that. That's like a pretty typical lead. But the reality is I've been sober for quite some time, you know, and yes, that would be a fine lead for me to give but that's not like what's in my head. And I really feel like I want to talk more about like not having emotional sobriety for the 4 years I stepped away from going to meetings and working a program, and then what happened when I came back in, and how I found peace and serenity again, and what things I did in working a program. Because I think it's really important, you know, for people that have long-term sobriety to know that, like, it can all be gone, like, in a second, you know? I think it's hard. I think there's this, like, stigma that when you have long-term sobriety, that it's just sobriety is supposed to be easy. And the thing is that the hand-to-mouth of the drinking or the using isn't necessarily the difficult part, but the emotional sobriety, the having a spiritual foundation that you really lean on, truly, you know, the staying in the middle of the wagon so you don't fall off, you know, all of that kind of stuff. I think that is what's really difficult as you know, go on with sobriety. I think, like, in early sobriety, there's so much focused attention on just not drinking, not using, right? And if you go and you're like, do what I did, which is you're going to a lot of meetings and you're working with your sponsor and like all of your friends are in sobriety, then literally your life is 100% sobriety, like for that first year or two. If you're somebody that worked a 12-step program like I did, then your life is pretty committed to just working a 12-step program, right? And I think that one of the reasons why a lot of people get like a year or two sober and then they go back out, I really do believe this, is, I've seen it happen time and time again, is people that are like, they are all in for their first year or two, and then they go back out and they start using again. And I think in some weird way, subconsciously, they miss what it was like in that first year or two. Like when your entire life was, I mean, it feels very refreshing. Even though it's difficult, it feels refreshing, it feels new, it feels good, I mean, clean living is good, you know? And so what happens then is we get this reward of sobriety, and we get, like I was just talking about this the other night on here, because Tanya and I have been talking about this. It's like, you get your life back, you know, and you get a job, and you get a relationship, and you get your relationships and family relationships back, and then you get like a place to stay. You're not like couch surfing or, you know, living in a halfway house or treatments facility. You know, you've got your own place to stay now, and you get to decorate it no matter, you know, how big or small it is, and it's your place, and you're proud of that, and you're living a right life, you know? But like, we're not used to that. And to keep that stuff, you then have to work a job. You have to like pay attention to the people that you have relationships with in your life. So all of this stuff that you were doing to get there in sobriety, like going to 2 meetings a day, or, you know, you're only hanging out with people in sobriety and stuff, that kind of becomes secondary to some degree to the other stuff that you've gotten. And I think what happens is a lot of people give some of that stuff up. I know there have been periods in my life where I walked away for 4 years, you know? I think those circumstances were a little bit different because I was so angry. I was angry at God, and I was angry at 12-step program, that I just was like, I'm done, you know, I'm out. But I think that's different than kind of weaning away slowly. Like, I see that happen with a lot of people, you know, but that piece has happened to me at times where I'm like in a relationship. It's like, you know, it's very similar to, like, imagine, okay, going to church. I've seen this happen with girlfriends of mine, okay? They go to church and they get real involved in church. And they go because they really love church, but they also think maybe I'll meet somebody and I'll, you know, like get married or whatever. And then they do meet somebody through church, and, you know, the person that they meet, they're like real involved in the church, and they get, you know, they're going to choir, and, you know, they become elders of the church and stuff like that. But then they get married and they have a kid, and then they're just going on Sundays, and then they're going like one Sunday a month, and then they only, you know, what are they called? Creasters? They're only going at Christmas and Easter. You know what I mean? Like, they don't feel this need to go to church all the time anymore and be really active. And it's not like, well, it didn't mean anything to me or it wasn't real. It's like, okay, this real life now that I have has taken over for what happened before. And I think that happens a lot to all of us, you know, whatever it is. So it's hard. But, you know, I have friends of mine that have dated and married within the program too. And you know, everything they do and everything about their lives is about sobriety. And it seems like real appealing. But that has its own set of problems too. Like, I personally, like, people ask me all the time, they're like, you know, like, is it hard, you know, to be with somebody that drinks and all this kind of stuff? Well, even though, like, you know, Alex drinking it from time to time has its own issues, I think, like, it's nothing compared to what it would be like to date or, you know, be married to somebody that was also in recovery or in sobriety. You know, there's something that we call taking their inventory, and that means where you, like, you kind of check and balance somebody else that's sober. You know, my mom and I, we really never did that to each other. Like, we made it very clear from the very beginning that, like, your program is your program and my program. Your program is your program, my program is my program, you know, and what you do is over here and what I do is over here. And we can talk about sobriety in between, but we're not going to go to each other's leads. We're not going to go to meetings with each other, because how can you sit in a meeting? What if I needed to talk about my mom and she's sitting right over in the meeting listening to everything I'm saying about her, you know? So we kept everything separate, and I think it honestly saved our lives. It saved our relationships, you know? I think had we been entwined, I don't know how that would have worked for us. I really don't, you know? My mom and I mean, our lives were pretty enmeshed anyway, so I think that it would have been... I don't think my mom would have probably, like, I'm the kind of person that I would have sat in a meeting, and if I needed to say something, I would have said something anyway, whether or not she was sitting in there. And then I think she would have personalized that later and been like, well, what did you mean by this? Or, you know, like, even if it had nothing to do with her, I think she would be like, well, I'm kind of worried, like, what does this mean? Or, you know, whatever. But, you know, like, my mom and I mean, I didn't know her friends in sobriety until she got sick. Like, I knew who her friends were. Like, she would say, oh, Judy Smith or Sally Joe or whatever, you know? Like, I'm going to my meeting tonight with, you know, Sally. And I might have met Sally, like, one time in a car in passing or something like that. But I didn't know her. I mean, Indianapolis has a huge recovery community. So she went to meetings over here. I went to meetings over here. And, like, we didn't, like, cross. And it wasn't until afterwards that I started going to this meeting that my mom used to go to, and I said something about my mom in a meeting, and somebody came up to me afterwards and they said, who is your mom? And I said, you know, who she was, and they were like, oh, my mom, oh my God, like, I saw your mom, like, every week, 3 times a week at different meetings. My mom went to a lot of meetings. And so, you know, I've met so many people since that, like, they have the same home group as my mom, you know, and whatever. But I never, like, I knew them from other meetings, but I never knew they knew my mom. You know what I mean? Like, we didn't sit there and talk about people that way. So, I don't know. I think it was good. I think it's crazy that for 13 years, you know, we shared something, but separately, and never really knew the other person's involvement in it, you know? I don't know. I think it's important. I never knew my mom's sponsor until the day of her funeral. Like, never had met her. I mean, I knew who she was. My mom would say her name, you know, left and right. She'd be like, oh, you know, Judy, I'm just making up Judy Smith, but she'd say, oh, Judy this, and Judy that, and Judy this, and Judy, I mean, she did that for 13 years. But I never met the woman, you know, which is crazy to me in retrospect, because she was, like, my age. But I had never met her until she came up to me at my mom's funeral, you know, and introduced herself to me. I'll never forget. I was standing outside with my sponsor at the time, and one of my very best friends, you know, Tanya and I's best friend, the one that ended up going back out, and we were standing out in front of the church, and she came up to me, and she just was so sweet. She was so kind. And we sat there and talked for a little bit, and then she asked me if I wanted my mom's, and she had come to the hospital several times, but she had come to the hospital when I wasn't there. She asked me if I wanted my mom's 14-year coin, because my mom was a month shy. My mom died in May, and her sobriety birthday was June 2nd, and she would have had 14 years sober. And so my mom's sponsor said, do you want her coin? And to put it, like, bury it with her for 14 years. And I said, no. I said, I appreciate it. I said, but my mom didn't believe in borrowing time. There's something like that, like, people that are like really serious about recovery, they don't believe in borrowing time. So like, if you have, you know, 364 days, you have 364 days. You don't have a year. Like that, they're very serious about that. Like we have one day at a time. We have a daily reprieve and we don't borrow time. And 364 days is just as important as 365. So yeah. And you know, I've never seen her since either. Isn't that weird? Maybe one time. I think maybe one time. So anyway, I'm gonna get off here and I will be back in just a little while. Bye. Okay, I'm back. It's just me and my hair, Darlene Jolene Joe. Dropped Tanya Jean off. We went and got waters tonight. She had her pajama pants on, so she didn't want to go in the gas station, so I had to go in and get the water for us. And yeah, we drove around and talked for a little bit. Had a good time. It seems weird that it's almost the weekend already. Seems kind of crazy. I was just sitting in Tanya's driveway and I was like going through my emails and stuff, and I just saw it because it just came through, and somebody emailed me and said that they were going to their very first meeting tonight, and they were like, thank you for sharing, you know, your story. It's really helped me get to the point where I'm comfortable going to my own meeting. And I just want to say I think that's amazing. I'm not going to say who it is, obviously, but congratulations. I'm really proud of you. It's really hard to walk into a meeting for the first time, let alone by yourself. Tanya and I were actually talking about this tonight because, you know, I look back on my sobriety and I look back on all of the things that have got me to where I'm at today, and you know, I think about the things that have like kept me sober, the things that have meant the most to me through the course of my sobriety. And I mean, me sharing my story and you relating to it or making you feel comfortable, I think is great, but it's you that gets yourself through the door. And I just want, you know, to that person out there, or to anybody else that's done that, you know, to know, like, that's really, really powerful that you got yourself to the point where you feel comfortable doing that. When I look back over my sobriety, you know, when I think about the things that really helped me stay sober, I was telling Tanya this tonight, and she was like, oh, you too, and we were talking about it. And my friendship with Tanya has been like the one constant thing from a couple years sober that I have had, that if it wasn't for her, I don't really believe that I would be here right now. I just really don't, you know. I think about when I, you know, didn't go to meetings for a couple years, and Tanya had it on the country music station while I was in the gas station. Kenny Chesney, Spread the Love. When I, you know, every week she would say, you know, do you want to go to a meeting this week? And I'd say no, but maybe next week, you know, maybe next week. For 4 years, I mean, she asked, you know, and our friendship continued. It wasn't like I didn't see her. Our friendship continued. She just was going to meetings and I wasn't. And I was still a sober person. We would still talk about sobriety, but I just wasn't doing anything. I mean, I was dry. I was a dry drunk during those times, you know. But when I knew that I needed to come back in, I mean, I knew I needed to be back in long before I walked back in the rooms, but when I finally walked back in, if I didn't have Tanya to say, will you go to a meeting with me, I'm not really sure I ever would have walked back in. I don't know that I would have found the courage on my own. You know, fear and having social anxiety is a lot that I would have used as excuses to keep me from coming back. It just started lightly snowing. So I don't know what my life would look like, you know, if she wasn't in it. And I think about people being put into our lives for reasons. You know, she's always patient with me, but challenging. you know, tells me what I need to hear. So thankful for her, you know. She's like such a huge part of my sobriety. But I think it's also about allowing ourselves to lean on others and ask for help. I mean, I think that's a huge thing. You know, you have to be willing to get to the point where you're willing to ask somebody for help. So, and that's not just a sober thing. I mean, I think that's anything in life, you know? Whenever there's been something I've wanted to do, like whether it's write a book or be on YouTube or whatever, I've always reached out to people that are doing what I want to do, and I ask them how they did what they did. But I'm not somebody that today or in the last 10 or 15 years has had a hard time asking for help. There was a time that I refused. I would never ask for help. You know, I would never ask anybody. I always thought I could do it on my own. But today I ask for help from people that know more than I do. I mean, I kind of feel like, why not? Like, you know, oh my God, the battery is about to die. Are you kidding me? I would have changed it back there before I got on the interstate. Oh, I better have the battery in here or I'm gonna be pissed. Oh, thank God, here it is. Anyway. Still listening to Proof of Heaven, and I'm loving that. Somebody commented, I was reading all the comments in the vlog too. Somebody commented that I should watch these near-death experiences on YouTube, which I didn't even know was a thing. And I'm like, oh my God, is that a thing? Like on YouTube that people have like talked about their near-death experiences, which of course, I'm sure there's a whole community of it. That never occurred to me. I used to back then, you know, it's interesting like how I look at YouTube today compared to how I used to look at YouTube. You know, back in the day, before my life was a lot about YouTube, I looked at it as like this place where you would look up stuff. I mean, I still do sometimes, but like where I had to change my windshield wiper fluid, and so like I looked up how to I couldn't find on this car, I guess I never have since I've had it in a year, I've never opened the hood. I was like, I couldn't see it anywhere. I was like, how do you open the hood? So I searched how to open hood, and on the Jeep Cherokee, and it pulled up like a YouTube video, which I thought was funny because I Google searched it. But anyway, I know I'm stupid that I couldn't find it. I'm like looking down here, there was like nowhere where it was. I was like, I don't see it, and it's kind of like hidden underneath here. It doesn't really have anything on it that says what it is. It's right here now. You hear it? But I didn't know that that's what it was before. But anyway, you know, like years ago, like who I watched on YouTube, I mean, there were people that I watched consistently, but not tons. And then, other than that, like, I would search stuff up on YouTube, like near-death experiences, or how to tie a bow tie, or, you know, I'm trying to think of something else that I would have looked up back in the day, like a dream analysis, or something like that, you know what I mean? Like, that's kind of how I used to fall down the rabbit hole of certain things on YouTube. Well, like, here's a real good example. You know, when I was in Mexico, I was watching all of these videos on, like, grieving a pet, and all these people, like, sharing their experiences. And then that kind of fell down the rabbit hole of me, like, watching these videos of psychics and mediums and what happens when, like, animals pass and stuff. And I know it sounds corny, but it helped me. And I mean, I probably watched, I don't even know how many of these videos, because most of them are pretty short. And there's this one woman, she has a huge following. I'd never heard of her before, and she's like, all her videos are dedicated to like psychic medium readings and talking mostly about like pets and pets that pass. And so I became real fascinated, like watching all those videos, and it really helped. It brought me a lot of comfort, honestly, you know. And so I watched those, But that was kind of how it was for me back in the day on YouTube. Like, it wasn't like, oh, I watch all of, you know, Jaclyn Hill's videos or Tati's videos or whatever. It was like, there were some people that it was like that. Like, back in the day, Tyler Oakley, I watched a lot of his videos. Glozell Green, I watched almost every single one of her videos. Johnny Boy XO, Chris Crocker, like, there were people that I thought, but then, you know, back in the day also, there were a lot of, like, this is more like on TikTok and Instagram and stuff now, but there were, like, those viral videos that, you know, do you guys remember, like, that's how I found Jenna Marbles, was because she did the Disney Princess video, where she taught, Jenna Marbles is somebody that I've always consistently watched. I don't watch Tyler Oakley ever anymore. I tried to watch a video of his not too long ago, and he was high, trying on wigs. It just made no sense to me whatsoever. I was like, you've completely lost sight of what you were doing over here. Because there was a time that I think that he was really relatable and people liked him and stuff like that, but like, I didn't really understand the video. I mean, I understand a video where somebody's high and they're trying on wigs, but like, I was like, it felt desperate to me, is what it felt like, in all honesty. And I was kind of like, I don't know. I was thinking about this the other day because one of the people that I used to watch all the time religiously was Michael Buckley, What the Buck. And I liked Michael Buckley. I really liked him a lot. And then he like went through this, like he went through a breakup and he went through this huge change and okay, I'm back. I had to change the battery. It's a gas station. But I was talking about Michael Buckley. You know, I used to watch Michael Buckley, What the Buck, all the time. And then he went through this breakup. That was the first thing that happened, which I felt horrible for him, you know? But Michael Buckley, when I watched him, was literally at the top of his game. So if you don't know who he was this guy, and he was, I mean, kind of a drama channel back in the day, in reality. He would sit at a desk, and he had a tie on, and he would do pop culture, like, gossip. And very much like ETV, but it was on YouTube. So, like, he would have done, like, he would have covered something like, did I just go the wrong way? No. He would have done, like, talking about Shakira and J-Lo at the Super Bowl and things like that. Or, like, what celebrities were seen at the Super Bowl. It wasn't really YouTube drama. So, I watched him, like, every single day that he posted a video. But then he went through this breakup, and he started kind of, like, talking about it, and I could tell it was, like, really, really hard for him, you know? And I felt for him. And then he tried to get on the Kelly and Regis show, when it was before it was like that Michael Strahan or whoever. He like did this contest to get on the show. I don't know if anybody else remembers that. And it seemed to be that his YouTube stuff started becoming all about that. He had like 3 channels. He had like Michael Buckley, What the Buck, and something else. And it started becoming just like about that. And then he started doing all of these videos that really made no sense whatsoever on his channel. Like, I really didn't understand it. Like, I was watching these videos, and I can remember there was this one, and he was, like, in the bathtub or something, and I can remember watching it, and I was kind of like, I'm out, dude. Like, I don't know what's going on with you, but, like, you're obviously going through some stuff. Well, then he, like, took a bunch of time off of YouTube and came back and was doing like life coaching. He like got his life coaching certificate, and he was doing like life coaching videos on YouTube, which were fine, they were whatever. And I don't really know what he's doing now, but it's always interesting to me. Like, I mean, he was getting hundreds and thousands of views of video on that channel. I'm sure he was making fantastic money. His videos were real enjoyable. And then it just seemed like he just kind of handed it over. Like, that's always really interesting to me. But anyway, he was somebody that I watched too. And then Chris Crocker, of course, quit YouTube. And he posts music stuff over there now, I think, still. But he's decided to do some different things with his life. And on Instagram, he's doing tarot card readings now. I can't tell if it's like a character that he's doing or if he's like serious about it. He seems serious about it, and the comments seem serious, but it feels like he's doing like a character. I don't know. But anyway, Johnny Boy XO left YouTube. Glozell Green, I haven't gone to her channel and I don't know how long. The last time that I watched The Most Popular Girls in High School, which was a series that I watched for a really, really long time, they did this whole season in like 3D, and I didn't like watching it in 3D. It was like you had to move your phone up. I didn't like it. It made me uncomfortable to like watching it. It was like, it hurt my eyes. So that was when I stopped watching that. I don't know if they have another season out. The last time I watched them was when they went to Paris for like this model search thing. That was the last season of The Most Popular Girls in High School that I watched. And then, who else did I watch back in the day? Oh, Shep689, who was Will and RJ, who were a gay couple that got married, and they were from Florida, and then they moved to LA. And I watched them for like I think they vlogged for 7 years. So I watched them for 7 years. I found them sometime in the first year, and I caught up and like would watch all their vlogs, and then I caught up, and then I literally waited every day for their vlog to come out. And then they got married. That was like a big deal on their channel. They vlogged like the whole thing. And then if you watched it, you could kind of tell stuff was going on, but you didn't really know what was going on. And then they decided that they weren't gonna vlog every day, which when that happened, I was like, okay, because they weren't really vocal about it before that. Like, it just kind of came out of nowhere that they were gonna stop vlogging every day. And, like, I mean, I don't know if the time will come where I won't vlog every day, but I've already made the decision that, like, let's say if I was gonna stop vlogging every day, right? That I think, like, if I was gonna, like, if I had decided I'm not doing this, but let's just say if I was gonna stop vlogging, like, I would say, okay, I'm gonna vlog through the rest of 2020, or I'm gonna vlog, and I would say it now, or, and maybe if I change my mind, I'll keep on going, or I'm gonna vlog through June of 2020, you know, and then I'm gonna stop. But, like, I wouldn't just one day wake up, unless something catastrophic had happened, you know, and be like, I don't wanna vlog anymore. And just not post and be like, we're not gonna post every day anymore. Well, then, once they said we're not gonna post every day, their vlogs were very random, and some of their vlogs were vlogs, some of their vlogs were like, some of their videos were like videos, like, with a purpose. And it just, they all seemed like random to me. And what's interesting is if you go to their channel, they moved like twice in like 6 months. And the last video that they did, it was like a house tour, and it just felt so weird. I remember watching it when it came out, and I was like, is this even their house? Like, it didn't even feel like they lived there. And I was like, is this even their house? And it was a sponsored video, and I was like, and they didn't do a lot of sponsored videos. I don't know, it just felt weird to me, it felt off. And I loved them, I loved watching them. I'm trying to think of who else I watched back in the day. Kingsley, I watched sometimes. At some point, I started watching Trisha and Shane. Oh, Gigi Gorgeous. I watched everything that Gigi Gorgeous did. Gigi Gorgeous is probably somebody that I've watched from the very, very beginning. I remember the video got recommended to me. She'd actually been doing videos for like a year, I think, a little bit, maybe more than that. After, oh, maybe not, I don't know when. But I think it was closer to when she did the video. She did this video where she did a makeup tutorial, and she did it in it was fast forwarded. And it was long before she transitioned. And I started watching her videos then. I used to love back in the day, Gigi Gorgeous would do these what's in my bag videos. And I loved those videos. And then she did The Avenue, which was like this reality series that she had, and she'd put up, she just was so authentic and raw. I don't necessarily get that vibe from her when I watch her videos anymore today, but I don't dislike her. I just am not, I don't watch any of her videos today, really, unless something's going on that somebody is like, there's a drama video out of this or whatever, you know, then I'll go watch and see what I think, but I don't really watch any of her videos today. I don't really think she cares much about YouTube, honestly, anymore. It seems like when I do watch her videos, but I could be wrong. I mean, who knows? Although she's doing this series with people over there, and I saw, and it seemed kind of interesting to me, but I didn't watch the videos. who's somebody else that I watch? But that's actually how I found Trisha Paytas, was through Gigi Gorgeous, because Gigi was in Los Angeles and she and Trisha met up for lunch and were eating at the Ivy, and that was how I found out who Trisha Paytas was. And I started watching these Trisha Paytas videos. They were old videos of hers where she was in this her old apartment, and yeah, that was how I found her. And then I found Shane, watched him, and I really didn't like Shane when I first started watching his videos. I didn't like his videos. It took me a while to kind of watch him. Joey Graceffa, I used to watch back in the day. I don't watch him at all anymore. I do watch his boyfriend Daniel's channel though, because I think it's hilarious. But who else did I watch? I feel like there's somebody I'm forgetting. I mean, probably back then, the most popular girls in high school and Glozell were the two people that I watched the most. I mean, I lived for Glozell Green. I thought she was fantastic. Look, I tied a knot with one hand. You're like, who cares? Oh, and I untied it with one hand. So it's interesting how YouTube changes over time, because those were like people that I kind of watched, but typically what I would do is I would just get on YouTube and like, let's say if I had been having a conversation with somebody during the day where I'd be like, oh, you know, like, do you, I don't know why this just popped into my head, but that Giannis Marshall, do you guys know who he is? He's a dancer. He's the guy that does the dance classes and the high heel shoes and stuff. Okay, he is so fantastic, and Alex loves his videos. I'll tell you, okay, so anyway, but somebody will mention a video of his, and then I'll like watch it, and then I'll watch like the next 10. That's how I usually do YouTube, or back in the day I did it, but I still do it that way, you know. I kind of fall down the rabbit hole of some topic or some community or something like that. That's how I fell into the whole mommy blogger thing a couple years ago. I sat there and I watched that, and I know people don't like her, but I did a video about her at one point called Brittany and Baby. And I watched this whole video where she was like packing their lunches in the kitchen, and I don't even know what was interesting. It was just something about her presentation was like soothing to watch, and I just like how I don't know, it was just interesting to me. And I started watching all these mommy blogger videos, and that was probably 2 months of my life. And that's what I do, is I kind of like just go through stuff. What else? Oh, Alex, so I'll tell you, like, Alex doesn't really watch YouTube videos at all. He watches this guy who is Latino, and he's got an Instagram, but he's also got a YouTube channel. Alex watches his YouTube videos. I don't know who he is, but he does all these hilarious characters. He does drag. He's real funny. Alex is always showing his videos to his family and stuff. And Alex just sits there and he watches his Instagram and just laughs for hours and hours. But Alex really, really likes Kyle Krager, and I know that Kyle Krager's video about losing his dog really helped Alex with PP when he watched, because he had watched it before and he watched it again, and yeah. He's always like, you should do a video with Kyle Krager. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, you guys are both sober. You guys should do a video about your sobriety together. And I'm like, let me just get on the phone and call Kyle Krager and be like, hey Kyle, you want to do a video together about our sobriety? I don't know anything about him. We don't follow each other on any social. I follow him on Instagram, but I'm sure he has no clue who I am. I'm like, yeah, Alex, that's how it works. That's how it works. Let me get on there and be like, hey, you want to do a video about our sobriety together, you know? Sky looks like it's just gonna fall, like snow is just gonna fall down, but I don't think we're supposed to get any more snow. Dream. It's interesting how YouTube changes over time. I've said this on here before, but like I don't ever understand, like you watch these YouTubers and then like one day they just stop. I'm talk about people that like YouTube is such a big part of their life. Like they're doing YouTube on a daily basis. Like, I mean, I know I'm kind of consumed with it, with having 5 channels and one being a vlog where I talk every day and stuff like that. But like, the time that I took off and didn't film at the beginning of the year was like really good for me. But I missed making videos the whole time. I just didn't feel like I could get on video, and I was like, I'm gonna get on video and just bawl my eyes out. Like, I just didn't have it, you know? But I missed the creative outlet of it. I missed having fun and getting on video, but I just wasn't feeling like a whole lot of fun at that time, you know what I mean? And so, I'm not saying that I would never take time off again. I think that was actually, I mean, as far as a learning experience, it was a good learning experience for me to realize that I can take time off from YouTube, you know? Because I just feel so driven every day. I'm like, I want to make these videos, I want to make these videos, I want to make these videos, that I feel like, you know, I just do it. So it was a good experience for me to realize that I don't necessarily have to push myself that hard, even when I feel like I want to, and that I can take time off, and that the people that love to watch me, you know, you guys were still supportive of me, you know. The vlog was like the hardest thing for me because I had consistently done it every day for 3 years, you know, and, but I just couldn't. And you guys were so kind and caring and compassionate about it. Just like, take the time you need, you know, like everybody was so sweet about it. And it just made me feel so loved. And it made me realize that, you know what, if I need to take time in the future, I can do that, you know. And I'm really glad I did take the time to just be with Alex and, you know, in my thoughts and myself and whatever, you know. In February, so I've been making a goal to like post between 4 and 5 videos every day on my channel. I wanted to post every channel every day. But in all honesty, on my BookTube channel, like, unless I was doing book vlogs or tag videos, I don't really have a whole lot to talk about because I haven't bought a lot of books. And so I can't do hauls. I was gonna do a TBR for February, but I still think I'm going to. I don't know, I might do that tomorrow. Because I do know what books I'm gonna read for February, but I'm already almost like 2 done with February, you know, like 2 books down for February. So I just don't have a lot of videos to make over there. But, I have posted since February 1st, and it's the 6th. Well, now, you watching it's the 7th. I have posted either 4 or 5 videos on, well, one day I posted 6 videos, because I made 2 drama videos every day since the 1st. So I'm like, all right, keeping up with that goal. I do notice, though, that like the more videos I post across the board on different channels, the less views they get, because I think it's hard for, it's like snowing a little bit harder now. I think it's hard for people to keep up with like so many channels, you know? Which I totally understand that. It's crazy though, if you look at like my Peterisms channel, you know, for I would say 6 months to a year, I got consistently like 300 to 400 views. And now I get like 500 to 1,000 views consistently on that channel, which is really nice because I love that channel. I mean, I love all my channels, but that's just such a nice place for me to just kind of like sit and like just talk about whatever the meditations are. And I need to hear them, you know, like I kind of like always feel so peaceful after I get done. I usually save, well, my BookTube videos I sometimes save for last, but I usually save that channel for last because it always kind of leaves me in like a very peaceful meditative state when I'm done filming those videos. What is this pickup truck doing on the side of the road? Oh my God, he's opening his door. What is going on? Yeah, it leaves me in a very kind of like peaceful, serene state, meditative state after I've done my videos on that channel. So I really enjoy doing those videos over there. And they're super easy to do because I just pick out, you know, random meditations that I'm going to read for the day. Today I did 2 from... Did I even end up posting it? You know what? I don't even think I ended up posting it. I think I forgot. Because I went to go do this review at Dunkin' Donuts, and I think I may have forgotten to post my Peterson's video. Or did I post it when I came back? I don't know. If not, I'll post it tomorrow. But I did 2 readings from the book Don't Sweat the Small Stuff. I really like that book. I think I read like parts of it years ago. My mom gave it to me probably more than once, but I think I read parts of it years ago, but I don't really remember. And then like a year ago, I was gonna, like on the Peterson's channel, I was gonna read it straight through. So this year I thought I would just like pick certain readings to do at certain times, you know? And then when it's done, it's done. It's dark out here on these country roads tonight. I still have this lip gloss in here and it is so completely dead. Oh, there's like a little bit in the bottom, the very bottom. Maybe it's, you can get it out. Ooh, there was a little bit on there. I had the Beyond Meat sausage breakfast sandwich from Dunkin' Donuts tonight, and it was delicious. I really, really, really like that Beyond Meat. I didn't at first. I like the Impossible Burger better, but I like the Beyond Meat better now. It tastes real. The sausage does. I think it's supposed to be healthier for you too than the Impossible Burger or the Impossible Meat. Alex was supposed to pick up Sarah from the airport tonight, but her plane got delayed, and so she wasn't going to get in until super, super late, and so she was just going to take an Uber, so I was like, if you need me to go get her, I'll go get her. He was like, no, she just wants to take an Uber. I was like, okay. Obviously, I'll be up. People ask me often to pick him up from the airport because they know that I stay up late. I like going to the airport. I think it's fun. Tanya and I, back in the day, we used to always pick up people from the airport together. I think I'm going to turn around. I'm not going to vlog for a whole lot longer. I want to listen to my book tonight. Plus, it's kind of like dark out here. I don't know why I'm getting a little scary, spooky. I want to finish my audiobook because Mel is on me about starting Mindhunter, so I guess I should probably not read the Greer Hendricks book next, which I really want to, The Wife Between Us, but I guess I should probably read Mindhunter next. Because Mel told me to, and I do what Mel tells me to, so. Where is the turnaround here? I don't even see it. It's covered with snow. You want to talk about spooky? Look, I'm out here at this grain company. All right. Oh, Lord, have mercy. The soul of souls. All right, you guys, listen. I think I'm going to get off here now and listen to my audiobook and head on home. So, what is tomorrow? Friday? I hope you guys are having, oh my God, it's Friday. Thank God it's Friday. I hope you are having an amazing Friday, unless you have other plans. But like I always say, don't have other plans. Make the most of your day. Do something fun today. Do something exciting. Have a date night. If you don't have a date, take yourself out for a date. Back in the day, let me tell you something real quick. One of the things that I learned to do when I was single was get comfortable going out to eat by myself and going to movies by myself. And then I kind of like learned to really, really like it. So anyway, try it if you haven't. Take a book with you, or read something on your phone, or look at videos, and bring your, earpods or AirPods or whatever, or your earphones. Anyway, God, I looked at my back seat. I was like, is somebody sitting in my back seat? That freaked me out. So anyway, I hope you are having an amazing Friday, unless you have other plans. But like I always say, do not have other plans. Oh my God, you guys, it just stopped in the middle of all of it. After, I don't know if you caught it on here. I don't know if it had already stopped, because I don't know when it stopped, it didn't beep. But I said, I thought there was somebody in the back seat. And then it stopped, and it got real bright on my camera. And I was like, what is going on over there? And I looked, and it had stopped. Oh my God, it scared me. I need to get off this thing. I'm getting spooked left and right. Okay, so anyway, I hope you guys are having an amazing Friday, unless you have other plans. But like I always say, do not have other plans. Make the most of your day. Do something that will make you proud when you look back on it 5 or 10 years from now. Start the change today. Be the change you want to see in the world. Corny quotes with Peter at late at night. Corny late night quotes with Peter. And just do something fun today. And if nobody else has told you this today, take some really fun risk today. And if nobody else has told you this today, I love you. Make sure that you look at the mirror make sure that you look in the mirror every single day and you say to yourself all of your daily positive affirmations. I love you. You are valuable. You are important. You matter. You are worthy. You are beautiful. You are handsome. Today is going to be an amazing day. Yes, even for you, darling Jolene Joe. And 2020 is your year. And it is. It's going to be the best year ever, isn't it? It already has started off being the best year ever. We're reading so many books. We're getting a lot done. We're enjoying our life. We're feeling peaceful. We're feeling serene. And most importantly, make sure that you do something nice for somebody else today. You let them know how much they mean to you. Just call somebody up. Let somebody know, hey, you mean a lot to me. And I really appreciate you guys watching my videos. It means a lot to me. And I love you. And don't forget to do random acts of kindness today. I love you, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye. Love ya.